This content contains podcast. This adult
contains podcast content.
Adult content, be advised. Enjoy the episode.
She was just stroking my deepest scar.
I was actually doing the...
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
How is everyone today?
Just dandy.
Have you had a good days, good weeks? What day are we on? Wednesday?
I've actually had a really weird week because the research for this show has made me feel weird.
Okay.
But it also could be all the poor decisions I've made in the last 2 months regarding my medication dosage. So I've been up and down. It's probably that, actually.
Yeah.
I, for the first time basically ever, was in church on a weekend.
Yeah, Laura.
Oh, Laura's been...
Crocheting.
She's been charitable.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
been being charitable. I was crocheting for the homeless.
Well, I've had a bit of death in the last week, but also it's been a really weird one because obviously that was really upsetting and negative. We've got a live show.
Yes, we
performing
have.
as part of the
Cheerful
Earful Festival in October 20th in Balham.
It's a Sunday.
It's a Sunday.
It's a Sunday.
It's a Sunday. If you're about, we'd love to see you. This is very exciting for us.
We'll link the tickets on social media.
Mm-hmm.
We actually can't wait. Shall we say what the show is going to be about?
So our slot is on the 20th of October. I think we're one of the final ones. And we're going to do a Halloween scary telly special. Not scary telly, things that scared us as kids about TV.
And it's going to be good. We know some of you have already booked your tickets, so
And we're very
thank
grateful
you.
for that. So thank you.
There's only, 30?
There's 30 seats. I think there's
There's standing room, so we don't actually know the capacity.
So, and it's £6 a ticket.
But there's no. I don't think you book a seat, so I think it might be first. If you're coming, first come first serve on the seats, probably.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on that, but yes, and there's loads and loads of other people podcasts.
It's like a month and a half of
other podcasts that are taking place across a pub in Balham that I can't remember the name of.
The Bedford.
The Bedford in Balham, and Clapham Grand, which is like situated nicely in our area, which is absolutely amazing for us.
Oh my god, it is amazing.
It's like this could not be more convenient.
It's perfect.
Yeah, honestly.
So we'd love to see you there.
It's even easy to get to, just to give directions. If you're going into St Pancras, just get Thameslink down to Balham. Thameslink's lovely trains. I love the Thameslink. Anyway.
She loves going on about Thameslink.
She loves Thameslink.
She hates the tube.
I just want an air-conditioned train.
Yeah.
Is that so hard to ask for? Anyway, yeah. We're very excited.
So, yeah.
So where are we in the world right now?
We're at
Today, Jennifer Lopez filed for divorce.
Great.
That's the main news of the
After
day.
2 years
so.
of marriage with Ben Affleck. Yeah.
Exactly
Again,
2 years.
Why
exactly.
is history repeating itself?
Exactly.
No, because time's a flat disc.
We've actually got we've got nothing new to do, so things are just happening again.
Oh my god, that's depressingly accurate. Like, literally, you just look at the news, it's like, wait, didn't this all happen 20 years ago? Wait, didn't this all happen in the 70s? It's like, yeah.
Last night we went through everything that Billy Joel says in We Didn't Start the Fire, and then everything that Fall Out Boy say
in their updated version
of We Didn't Start the Fire, which is I mean, it wasn't as good, but I did think it was funny that the Suez gets to come up twice.
Yes, Suez is in both songs. So I said, what's your favourite thing that Billy Joel says in, like, what's your, not favourite, like, specific thing, but what is best in the song? Which is why I went with one that I can't say, or you'll think I'm evil.
The thalidomide children?
Yeah.
Children of Thalidomide.
Yeah.
King
Just,
Kong.
Do you know
Kong?
why that happened?
I do know why that happened, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's
I did
actually,
GCSE
it's actually,
science.
it's
No.
actually one of the only things I remember
No,
from biology.
I don't mean the science of it. I mean the history.
No, yes, we also learned that in...
Because so do you know about Louis Pasteur?
Yes.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, we did all learn that. And it's one of the only things I remember.
Laura, would you like to explain what it was? Yeah, there she goes.
Please let me explain.
What I'm talking about is that, so it's this left-handed, right-handed molecule thing, which I actually can't remember, and that's not what I'm trying to explain. So the issues with the thalidomide thing is that this left-handed, right-handed molecule thing, right, and how it interacts with your cells. And Louis Pasteur discovered that about 200 years before thalidomide was used in pregnant women. And he kept it a secret. He died not telling anyone about it and told his family, never tell anyone about all my discoveries. And it's like, fuck you. A lot of people could have been saved if you had just published your science, you prick.
Anyway, enough of
Laura doing what Laura does best, explaining.
In fact, I was at my therapy today, and she was explaining things about schemas and pathways, and because it's CBT, so it's quite a homeworky sort of therapy. And she said, sorry, I'm really not explaining this very well. And I was like, oh, don't you worry.
This is like the fifth time.
Don't worry.
I know all this.
And if not, I can double check at home.
Exactly. In fact, I noticed that, so since living with Laura, I've picked up her sort of American R's. And
you put a twist on them, though. You just started doing them one day and it was like, that's not entirely from me.
I didn't really
got that.
Well, I got it from working with a lot of people not from England while wearing masks in a very busy environment. So I was overpronouncing everything for about
That's
a
fair.
year, and it really stuck. But I noticed in my session today, she was doing it, and I was like, oh, I'm so sorry.
You've also started saying finagled.
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
Yes, I
Yeah,
like
you
it.
have.
Yes, I like that.
It's a great word.
Yeah. Anyone else have a favourite bit of We Didn't Start the Fire?
What else do I have to say?
When you asked me, I said fire.
Yeah. Yeah.
We.
I know, because it's like really depressing. He didn't mention Margaret Thatcher, which I thought was a miss.
He did mention British politician sex, which is a good line.
Yeah, I mean, there are some in there that don't rhyme in any way at all or fit in, and they have still put them in. But Thatcher, what do you rhyme it with? What do you rhyme it with to get it
Milk
in?
snatcher.
No, because then Margaret Thatcher's got a whole line just to her, and he's trying
That's
to fit.
not fair.
He's trying to fit a whole
Half a century.
worth of stuff
Yeah.
into a song. And you know, he also did he write it? He might not have written
I
it.
think
He
he
did
did.
write it.
Did he write his own
lyrics by
songs?
William something Joel.
William Joel.
William Joel.
William Joel.
William Joel.
I wish that was a more common thing that people did.
Jolkin, Rolkin, Tolkien.
Yeah. What would our middle names be? Laura Aura? That's terrible.
Yeah, your middle name is what?
Eileen.
Yeah,
Sarah.
Laura, Aura, Cora, because of Connolly. And I would be Elsie, Helsie, Lelsey.
No, because with the Jolkin, Rolkin, Tolkien one, if it was all my initials, I would be Mumby, Gumby, Rumby, Mumby.
And you live in Lollipop Land.
She is a Mumby, Gumby, Rumby, Mumby cat.
Or you live in Lollipop Land. Like, yeah.
Yeah. So Laura would be Lonely, Sonnelly,
Connolly.
Connolly.
Oh, yeah, 'cause you both have-
Donnelly's an actual last name.
You both have two middle names.
Yeah.
So I would be
You have no. You have one,
Odes,
Helen.
Hodes, Loads.
Toes loads.
We are doing Basil Brush, the 2002 sitcom, today. We all have weird feelings about it.
Yeah.
I would
wouldn't
say.
I have weird. I have fairly straightforward, unpleasant opinions.
Okay. So,
What a surprise.
right. How to begin this?
Oh, it's gonna be a real boom boom of a show today, so stick around.
You wanted just how it started.
No, I want to apologise in advance.
Right.
Because I know that a lot of people
Beloved.
really, really love it. When we posted a reel from it, everyone was like, okay, this is exciting. You're doing Basil Brush. We loved Basil Brush. Everyone loved Basil Brush. I do think that these people saying this, I'm not saying you're wrong, but you've probably not seen it in a long time.
Also, I think it would be worth querying which Basil Brush they have more love for.
Yeah.
Just a thought. We'll get into that later, I think.
Yeah.
I think that there is so much of it, and there is, that it's easy. Like, when I thought I wasn't going to like it, and many parts of it I didn't like, but I thought I didn't like it as a kid, and yet I remembered so much of it that I must have watched it quite a lot. But I don't remember.
That's happening so much this season to you.
I didn't remember any of the bad stuff.
Yeah.
So it's very possible that, I mean, we're definitely people are gonna call us the woke police for some of the things that we have to say.
Yes,
but
they are.
we have to say
We have
them,
to say them.
It might have been at one age when you were watching it the most, you did like it, and then when you got to a certain age, you were like, wait a minute.
Yes,
No.
I think I
and then
might
that's
have.
your last memory of it, is you deciding you didn't like it. So that's the impression you were left
I think
with.
I may have watched it quite a bit when I was younger, and then I grew up and yeah. So there are things about the show that we have to address.
I do feel like if our listeners are at all attentive to the things we do like, things we don't like, they should have maybe been able to guess at least how some of us were going to feel about this.
Yeah.
I seem to have lost my rabbit.
Have you tried looking in your head?
And why didn't I think of that?
Answers on a postcard, please. But keep it clean, eh?
Isn't it sweet?
Very. Especially slow-cooked. Chinese style. Boom, boom.
Basil,
Sorry. That was tasty. Oh, I mean, tasteless.
I want to start out by saying that I like the show. Laura hates the show.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
I'm so about it.
Okay, this is good. How often have we started an episode like this?
I would say we circle back to this in a bit. I did like the older one more. I watched some of the older one and the newer one, and I preferred the 70s through the 80s.
It was 68 to 80.
Okay, wow. I preferred that one.
Yeah. When you told me that you'd even seen it, I was honestly shocked because you have not seen that much British telly. And that is something that basically our entire generation haven't seen, that our entire parents' generation definitely have seen.
Yeah.
So when you told me that you knew it, I was really shocked.
You know, so because like LT was sending us episodes to watch, me like, okay, watch some of this season, watch some of that, and I was like, I was so certain this show was from the 60s. Like I remembered the 60s show, and then you sent ones of the 2000s one, and I was like, this does not compute with my memories. And then I realized that they were both, right? Because when I was a kid, this must have been at my nan's or my grandma's house on like VHS watching Basil Brush, because that sounds like something my grandma would just have. They probably still have that VHS. I watched the 60s one, never watched the 2000s one.
Well, this week I've been trying to persuade him to go to a hypnotist to be cured of his craving.
Well, I think it's a load of old codswallop.
It's not a load of old codswallop.
Huh?
Hypnotism can cure all kinds of habits.
Really?
And it can make people do some very strange things.
Yes.
Remember that demonstration we saw?
Yes.
That man who found it impossible to bend over?
Yes.
He was as stiff as a board?
Yes.
Well, that was hypnotism.
Could have been rheumatism.
Now, listen. A hypnotist could make you believe you were a sword swallower, and make you swallow a sword 3 foot long.
Me?
Yes, you.
Swallow a sword 3 feet long?
No trouble at all.
But I'm only 2 feet tall.
Designed by Peter Firmin of Small Films fame. If you've not heard our Bagpuss episode, he was part of the Peter Firmin, Oliver Postgate team. Meg just rolled her eyes because she knows.
No, I didn't. I nodded.
Oh, okay. Oh, I thought you were doing a kind of, yeah.
No, maybe she just went,
No,
I actually thought you were falling asleep a little bit.
Sometimes I think I've blinked and I haven't. I've just rolled my eyes back into my head.
What the fuck? Wait. You go and think you blinked. What?
Let me do it now.
Oh, it was kind of a blink. Yeah,
I think that's what just happened.
Yeah.
I wasn't rolling my eyes at you. I was just nodding.
And you were saying me and Els have weird eye things.
We do have weird eye things.
I don't think I do it as much as I used to because it was pointed out to me, and I'm now I'm really aware of it. But I used to think I was doing a slow blink. Just blink. I don't know. And
the way that I think that I can blink upwards because I can.
She says it because it makes us angry.
I can blink upwards. I can move my bottom eyelids up to my top
you
ones.
don't have bottom eyelids, so you can't move them, can you?
How come I can blink upwards then?
No, she can't. No one can. You don't have capacity to move that musculature.
I can.
No.
There are pictures of me trying and it's horrible.
Because you can't do it. You're just looking like really strange.
I do have to say, it was like when we first moved here is when Elsie told us that she could blink upwards, and she genuinely thought she could, and she showed us, and it was so heartbreaking having to break to her that what she was doing was just blinking. And me and Laura started laughing, and Elsie was like, "What? What are you laughing at?" And we were like, because you're just blinking.
You're just like looking up and then blinks, like really forcefully blinking.
Yeah, but I can.
Anyway, Oliver Postgate.
Yeah. Peter Firmin designed the puppet Basil Brush. So he invented this puppet for a TV show that went from 1962 to 64, I think, but I'm not sure when it ended. It's called The Three Scampies, and it's about a trio of out-of-work circus performers. And Basil Brush did appear in that. And I did try to find out more about the Three Scampies, but if you Google it, you just get information about Basil Brush. So if you know anything about that show,
were there
let us
other
know.
woodland creatures in that show?
Yes, there was a.
I've seen it.
Oh, what's it like?
Adorable. Is there like a badger?
It's a hedgehog, I think.
Okay, yeah, I think this is what I saw and not Basil Brush, because I remember there being other woodland creatures with Basil Brush, and I don't know, like, so when there was only people, I was like, where's the other woodland creatures?
Oh, okay.
I'll have a look around my grandma's house.
Why is this horrible and not cute?
That's where he started. He was portrayed by Ivan Owen until 2000. Ivan Owen died in 2000. He didn't have any media presence whatsoever. He was so dedicated to not breaking the magic of Basil Brush. He had one radio interview in his whole life, but otherwise he was Basil Brush. He was an uber dedicated puppeteer. Then Basil Brush got his own show that ran from 1968 to 1980, and that was called The Basil Brush Show. And he was accompanied over the years by various stooges. You had Mr. Rodney, you had Mr. Derrick, you had Mr. Roy, you had Mr. Howard, and you had Mr. Billy. The one that I want to talk about is Mr. Roy, because that's the one that is remembered the most by my parents. I feel like he maybe wasn't on it the longest, but he's the one that is remembered by, I guess, my parents' generation.
Well, your parents.
Yeah, but that's the one that I hear, the name I hear the most when people are talking about old Basil Brush. Maybe that's just me. I mean, send us an email if I'm wrong.
'Tis my shoe, you know.
I know it is, Basil, and I've really been looking forward to this.
Oh, thank you, Mr. South. Marvellous.
North.
Oh, I'm sorry, I lost my sense of direction. Go, I say. Hasn't he got lovely teeth?
Oh, don't, Basil.
Go on, show him your teeth. Go on, take them out, put them on the table and show him the teeth. Go on.
I don't want to show him my teeth. You show him your teeth.
Oh, all right.
So Roy North, he was called, and he was from Hull. And you can hear very much that he's from Hull. And he was a huge Hull City Tigers fan, and he sometimes wore his Hull City Tigers top on the telly.
Aww.
Yeah. And it's a good show. So it's like half an hour long. It was Saturday evening, family entertainment. They would sort of...
It was like Graham Norton with skits.
Well, yeah, kind of. So they would have celebrities on there, and, you know, Basil would do a, you know, duet with them.
They perform on their own as well.
And they perform on their own as well. There's comedy skits. They go back and forth. There's always a section at the end called Story Time with Basil or something where the male presenter attempts to read a story and Basil just interrupts him with shit jokes, and it's actually unbelievably frustrating to watch. It's like you want to throttle him.
He looked round. Pepper was on a pirate ship.
Get away.
A fierce-looking pirate with a hairy face and a patch over one eye was shouting orders to the others.
2 steak and chips, 3 fish fingers and chips.
Not that kind of order. He was the captain.
Was he?
Move yourselves, me hearties, he yelled.
Move yourselves, me hearties. Oh, cool. That hurt.
The captain was a cruel man.
He's not the only one, I can tell you. Agony, that was.
The harder the pirates worked, the more he shouted at them.
It's so annoying.
It's
like,
really, really
I know
annoying.
it's the joke, but it's so annoying.
You could also kill him so easily.
Oh, so easily.
Yeah.
Done. Well, then they also, at the end of that, feels like a weird detraction of how long it takes them to do this. Once they finish reading the story, they then go through it again with you reading along with them.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a different show. I was talking about a section at the end of the Basil Brush show, at the end of each episode. But there was a show for kids that he was on called Story Time with Basil or Reading with Basil or something like that.
Why are there so many?
But that also had that annoying little...
Yeah, no, it did. Yeah, it fully did.
Yeah.
That's why I thought this was the same thing.
So while we're on the subject of this particular show, I want to talk about why puppets sometimes have insane sexual chemistry with celebrities.
Do you know, Basil, Marty Feldman had his eye on me all evening.
He had his eye on me, too, and I was on the other side of the room. But I must say, Miss Pett.
Yes.
You were the belle of the ball.
Was I?
You looked smashing.
Thank you.
You wore a gown of gold.
I was all in blue.
Didn't I catch cold?
A cold, not you. Not you. What fun you were, so bright and gay, a super fox in every way.
Was I?
Of course you were.
Say something?
Okay.
You go ahead.
Okay. You don't agree with me, right?
Well, listener, Elsie bored us long enough with this last night, and now she's gonna No.
No, so last night you showed us one with Kermit and Julie Andrews, and then Miss Piggy and Gene Kelly. Miss Piggy, I agree.
Yeah,
sexual
the one
chemistry.
with-
No,
one
it was
with-
the Michael Parkinson and Miss Piggy.
The one with Michael Parkinson.
He gets deeply jealous.
I don't blame him. I mean, I'd go overboard for you, I really would. What's it like being a sex symbol?
Oh, it's a deep responsibility to be a taste setter in fashion, to be a sex symbol and a pig superstar.
Fantastic.
Yes, I feel I can weather up under the storm. I have taste, I have style,
Yes, you have all that.
and I can cut it.
You do tend to get a bit aggressive at times, I've noted. I mean, you've got this very...
Well, your wife told me you liked that.
Oh.
Do you not think that the one with Miss Piggy and Michael Parkinson had more sexual chemistry than the one with Gene Kelly?
I agree. Miss Piggy has sexual chemistry with everyone, but I think she is an exception to all rules.
Well, I think that's because Miss Piggy is sexy. Kermit is not. Kermit's just a frog.
No, but
Kermit is lucky to have her.
But there's something that puppets do to celebrities. Like,
well, it's easier to play along with it because you're not playing it with an actual person,
No,
right?
exactly.
So you're not making a person uncomfortable.
It's just, I find it one of the most joyful things to watch, those sections on The Muppet Show where a celebrity comes on and they sing a song together, and it's just really nice. And you can see how full of joy that celebrity is that they are getting to talk to those characters, and you can like feel the sort of gleeful, sort of mischievous game that Jim Henson and Frank Oz are playing with these celebrities. You can hear them just loving it.
I did think the bit one with Michael Parkinson was really good though, because I know you didn't see it, Laura, but Miss Piggy was trying to make Kermit jealous, and she says something to Michael Parkinson and the camera pans to Kermit and Kermit, like, they do some...
Oh, the screwing up his mouth thing?
It looks like he swallows angrily.
Yeah.
That was so good.
I mean, he's one of the most sophisticated puppets ever, because he's a hand and he has, like, a huge range of emotions somehow. It's amazing. But I brought it up because there are moments like this in the Basil Brush show. So Petula Clark, he does a little duet with her. I'm going to put a little clip in of some of these, whatever. But he flirts with people, does Basil Brush. He's like a sort of raconteur kind of character.
I didn't see very many, and I saw, I think, two, both women, but like they both just seemed kind of uncomfortable because Basil Brush is... Firstly, the couch that they were sat on, at least the ones I watched, was this teeny tiny couch where they had to be squashed right next to the human presenter, and then Basil Brush is right here next, like 6 inches from their face.
That is also the problem with not 16 by 9,
4 by 3.
Yeah, 4 by 3.
Fair. Yeah, you can sit so much further apart now.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's why so many shows from that era have a huge amount of homoeroticism in them.
Or just general eroticism.
Yeah, but I'm specifically thinking of Star Trek.
Laura said to me earlier that she thinks she relates Basil Brush and Keith Lemon together. I think he's like if you crossed Keith Lemon and Bruce Forsyth.
Yes, that is good. So he was actually specifically based on Terry Thomas. So Terry Thomas was a comedy actor. He kind of often played like upper class gents. He was kind of cheeky and sort of sending up the upper class.
All I know is I know about 700 stories about aphrodisiacs. The one that sticks in my mind, which I like best of all, is one man said, I think it's that Spanish fly is the most potent aphrodisiac, and the other one said, no, oysters. He said, no, oysters are no good. I had 12 last night and only 11 worked.
How many pints would it take you guys to fuck Miss Piggy?
God, I thought you just would fuck. End of sentence.
No pints. 0 pints.
1?
1 pint. How many for you?
In this scenario,
Are you a puppet or is she a person? Is that what you're going to say?
That's actually that's sort of a better question.
No, she's a puppet and you're a person.
Am I operating her?
No, you're also a puppet.
Oh, I'm also a puppet.
Yeah.
Then like 3.
Like 3 pints. 3 pints from Miss Piggy, the sexiest puppet.
Oh, it's just, social lubricant. I don't know.
Okay, how many pints for Basil Brush?
I would be dead.
A couple? Well, this is what I have to say about Basil Brush. His character is that sort of, that like older gentleman that thinks he's charming.
That's actually really
and, like,
smarmy.
calls
and
everyone
racist.
Like he calls everyone
Doll.
young lady.
Sweetheart.
Yeah, there's like very overfamiliar in a kind of upper class gentlemanly kind of way that they think is still acceptable.
Yeah.
The only person I would ever allow to speak to me like that would be Basil Brush, because he's a puppet fox, and when he does it, I don't mind it so much.
Not now, Basil. Ah, just imagine it. Creme de menthe shandies on the veranda with a foxy young thing. It's all in the book, You take a look.
Dream on, Baz.
Ah, lovely. Thank you very much there. Back to sleep for me. Now, where were we, lady?
Here's the thing. There is someone under the table actually saying it to you.
I know. And it's Michael Windsor. So Michael Windsor plays Basil Brush and has done... there's only ever been 2 people who've played Basil Brush.
But yeah, Basil Brush.
Basil Brush?
Basil Brush. I'd be dead. The amount of alcohol I'd have to consume.
Pints, no. Several neat whiskies?
Yeah, what about you for both?
No pints for Miss Piggy. No pints. 20 to 30 strong ales.
20 to 30 bottles of Sambuca.
Yeah.
Some Trappist beers.
Pure ethanol until I go blind. No, sorry, that's methanol.
Blind and deaf.
And dead.
Blind and dead.
In September 1997, Ivan Owen and Peter Firmin sold the rights to Basil Brush to Bill Haslam, a Cornwall-based businessman and longtime fan of the character. So Haslam formed a company called Boom Boom, with the
no way
first mention of Boom Boom of the episode, by the way, and we've been recording for over half an hour.
That man didn't need any pints.
Ha 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 ha.
Boom Boom. With the aim of relaunching Basil Brush with a new television series and public appearances.
Ladies and gentlemen, please strap yourselves down and get ready to meet...
I'm Dave.
Young Master Dave. He's a real whiz kid.
Pop down to the shop and get yourself some. This should be enough.
And young Miss Molly. She's cute.
You want to get out more?
Beg your pardon. She's cool.
Nothing.
She's got a kick like a mule. Then there's Mr. Stephen, Master Magician.
Is that your card?
No.
Entertainer extraordinaire.
Please, don't clap.
Oh, all right, he's rubbish, but he's cheap. And, of course, the star of the show. It's the one and only... Oh, what's his name again? Oh, it begins with a B. Is it Barry?
Hey, watch it.
No, it's Boris.
I should be having words with your agent later.
It's Basil. Basil Brush!
On with the show. Music. Titles. Right. Oh, for Pete's sake. Has somebody got 50p for the meter?
So the sitcom was BBC. It used to be ITV. The original show was ITV.
Oh, yeah. Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
And BBC was the 2002 to 2007 sitcom. It stars Basil Brush, his, for some reason, flatmate, Stephen, who he obviously calls Mr. Stephen, so we all do as well, and Stephen's niece and nephew, Molly and Dave. So they all live in a flat together. There are various neighbours that sort of go...
Interchange.
Yeah, sort of go in and out. So you've got Madison, full name Madison Square Gardens. She's the resident American. Yeah, there's various, and they sort of stay for a few seasons each. There's also Anil from Anil's Calf, so that's the other set.
Oh, it's making me cry.
Yes, it's a tale of woe, all right.
That's not making me cry. This onion is...
Stick to the script.
Evil script! Get off me! Get off me!
And he's an Indian guy played by Ajay Chabra, so he's very cool.
He's very cool.
Have you seen his, not IMDb, just his Wikipedia page?
No.
He's done so much. And lots of like really different stuff as well. He's an interesting guy. So what do we think of this new show?
Abrasive.
I wonder if we should start with the positives.
Yes.
And then we can address all of its flaws.
Yeah.
I enjoyed was Dave? He's like a crime boss.
Yeah, Dave follows in the rich tradition of sitcom little boys in Britain. They're just like wanting to make money.
He's a Cockney wide boy.
He's a Cockney wide boy. Why do we have so many of them?
He's literally a crime boss.
He's grafting so hard. He comes back with wads of cash. He's employing his sister. You know what? Good job.
Yeah, he's got like a new side hustle every episode.
He is actually genuinely really funny as well. Like
he actually is.
He is the best character. He's my favourite character. He's so funny. He's got every episode. He's got a side quest or something.
He's usually wearing either a suit and it's like a proper suit with like he's got the suspenders and he's got like the arm brace things, and
it feels like he's in a different show.
Yeah,
and just happens to walk into the room sometimes.
Yeah. He's
got his own show.
Yeah, he's like a main character of a different show.
Yeah, there should have been a spin-off with him.
Ladies and gentlemen, space tourism is the next big thing, and I'm the hot shot entrepreneur who's going to bring it to the masses.
But Dave, what about the cost?
Yeah, surely space travel's too expensive for ordinary punters.
But not anymore. Allow me to introduce my new business partner, Anatoly Dodgiovic.
We to use top of cutting-edge rocket technology is developing in my beautiful home country, Moldova.
What's here?
He carries off that role, which could so easily be very annoying. Like, stop behaving like that. You're a child, but it's like actually every time he comes on, you're like, okay, what now? But I really want to know what now.
Yeah. What can I do for you, gentlemen?
Well, Mr. Dave, we were just wondering.
Yes, we were wondering whether you would like fish fingers for your tea, or would you prefer pizza?
You see, Mr. Stephen here wanted fishy fingers, whereas, on a Thursday...
Basil, I'm a busy man. Besides, tea's for wimps. I'll work right through. Oh, actually, I'm glad you dropped by. You see, I've just bought a major TV channel, and I'm reviewing the shows we make.
Oh, that's marvellous, Mr. Dave.
You see, my point is, my new company makes the Basil Brush show, so, embarrassing as it is, I'm now your boss.
Oh, well, that's not so bad. I'm sure you'll get over the embarrassment. A pay rise might help.
That's just it, Basil. See, I've been looking at these balance sheets, and popular as you are, profits just aren't what they should be. I'm gonna have to make some cuts.
Reduced to doing the show from the bathroom.
It's awful, isn't it, Basil? Damp and dismal. I much prefer voicing over the living room.
There's another episode where Dave becomes like a media mogul. It's always like really dodgy stuff.
Yeah.
And I enjoy that about Dave. Molly is, again, it's exactly like My Parents Are Aliens. Molly's the nerdy one. She likes school. She's like the Lisa Simpson.
I kind of think she's the normal one though. Like,
yeah,
she's mad with the men all the time. That is so realistic.
One thing that bothers me with that is that the minute there's a female generally in a sitcom show, she always gets moved into the role of mother.
Oh, it drives me crazy.
When I was a kid, I remember thinking that Molly was like angry all the time, and watching it as an adult, I'm like, she was angry all the time.
I didn't remember that. I remembered her being just as funny as everyone else, and I watched it and I was like, oh no, she's the woman in the sitcom.
Yeah.
Which is unfair to other... I mean, there are some funny sitcom... There are lots of funny sitcom women, but, from that time on that channel, maybe not so much. Other characters, there is Stephen.
Oh, what it's like to be in demand.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't know, would I? Failure. Useless Eustace. You heard him, Basil, my own flesh and blood.
They were just joshing. I'm sure that deep down they really respect you.
Oh, yes, Stephen? If any of my friends ring, can you pretend to be someone else?
The way I think about The Guardian, the way I think about Stephen is Meg and I have a joke about Tim Robbins. Do you hear where I'm going with this?
I'm sorry. I got distracted by Laura's toes. I'm so sorry.
She was just stroking my deepest scar.
I was silently doing this little piggy went to market.
You went like this, which is I nearly cut myself off.
Anyway, I'm really sorry, Elsie. Oh, your mum's ringing you. She always does this. Okay. We've got a joke about Tim Robbins. Me and my mum walked past him in Edinburgh, but I literally have no, at the time, won't have really known who Tim Robbins was. Like, I knew who he was, but I wouldn't have known him by name. And we walked past him and Mum went, that was Tim Robbins. And I turned around and it was just a guy.
Just a man.
To me, it was just a man.
Every time they do this, my brain is trying really hard to get Skater Boy to work within he's just a man, but it doesn't.
He was a man.
She was a girl.
He was a Meg. She was a Meg. Can I Meg it?
I remember telling Elsie this story and she was like, oh, is he really tall? And I went, he was just a man.
I don't think I said, I think you told me he was really tall.
No, because I didn't remember. I've told other people this story and they've said, oh, is he really tall? He's really tall, isn't he?
Okay.
And I've gone, he was just a man. But I know he's tall, so he must have been tall.
Meg was struck by how just a man this man was.
Maybe when I looked around, he was already far away.
Or maybe he was like on the road, you were on the curb, you know.
So we refer
Can I make it any more obvious?
We refer to him in our house as Tim Robbins the man.
The man.
And
the myth, the legend.
Chris Pizzey, who plays Stephen,
He's just a man.
He's just a man. Like, firstly...
We're just ordinary men.
We're just normal men.
We're just normal men. Laura doesn't get the joke, but
no.
some of you will.
I think all of you will.
Everyone
if
except
you're
Laura
listening.
will get this joke.
So I think his performance is actually excellent. I do think he has got the kind of fearlessness in his performance that what's his name, who plays
Nathan
Shaggy
Foley?
in Nathan Foley. I was gonna say Thingy from the Scooby-Doo movies, just completely unself-conscious, doing whatever it takes to make the scene good.
Well, that's because that man was born to play Shaggy. Hang on, because he came out and he was just Shaggy.
It was incredible. But yeah,
he came out the womb
as Shaggy.
And he was Shaggy.
But that's how I feel about
Matthew Lillard,
yeah. That's how I feel about Mr. Stephen.
Yeah, he is very good. I think his personality can be boiled down to wet wipe.
He also falls like I understand why this happened. You're making a children's sitcom. It's going to be really simple, right? So all of the characters, I think, except for Basil Brush, fall really deeply into a trope character.
Yeah.
And he is the idiot. And I think I just don't love sitcoms generally. And like that role especially really tropey sitcoms, that role in a sitcom grates me sometimes.
Yeah, I think I hadn't thought about it, but you said it makes you really uncomfortable when someone's stereotyped as the stupid one. I don't know. I think maybe you have too much empathy. You considered that?
Too much. Get rid of some of it. Just upload it.
Where?
The bin? I don't
Is
know.
it recyclable?
Throw it off the balcony.
That's it, isn't it? I've lost my job and there are 6 months of bills to be paid. What are we going to do? We are broke.
Well, there's a tube of glue in the kitchen if that helps.
No, it doesn't. Look, Stephen, you just got to work out a plan of action to deal with the situation like a grown-up.
Right, yes. Good one, Mole. Plan of action. Okay.
Come on then, Mr. Stephen.
Yeah, deal with the situation like a grown-up.
Anyone lend me a pound for a lottery ticket? Huh? Right.
So that's Mr. Stephen. He's a long-running Basil sidekick. So they did a tour in 2015. It was
2015.
2015. Mr. Stephen and Basil did over
Was this like
100.
a university?
No. It was over 100-date tour.
100 dates.
Yeah.
Jeez.
It was for children. So Basil Brush has since done over 16s shows. So in 2019 in Edinburgh, he did one. And that was called Basil Brush Unleashed. And it was like tapping into the sort of Dick and Dom nostalgia market. And that was with a different sidekick, but in as late as 2015, maybe even a little bit beyond, because it went on for quite a while. It was Basil Brush and Mr. Stephen just touring the country.
Madison kind of plays that role a little bit.
She plays the role of an American in our...
Yeah, not 100%, because I don't think she's not a moron, but she's like the blindly positive American character, which is stereotyping in a different way.
Yeah.
Now, would pink polka dots really be so wrong for a funeral?
Funeral?
Well, I assume we're not just gonna, dump him in a skip.
Hang on. You mean... she...
I know.
Nutter!
What?
My dear Medicine, it would appear that we're at Angry Dolphins. Cross purposes here.
Do what?
The big-faced freak ain't dead.
No? But what about, like, the policeman I didn't see from earlier?
Him? Oh, an actor friend of Stephen's who came round to give us the news that he's been snapped up by Hollywood, no less.
Because it's also like there's this feeling that is 100% accurate for Mrs. Stephen, is that because they're so stupid, they won't even notice that you're dunking on them.
That he has this constant, like, they dunk on him and then he has, like, a second delay where he goes, like, hey, and like, or just, like, with his face or whatever. He also played Sarah Jane Smith's dad in a genuinely really emotional episode of the Sarah Jane Adventures.
He's got range.
Well, I guess so. I think that almost everyone our age, I say almost because I'm sat in a room with Laura, watched that episode and their first reaction was, oh my god, it's Mr. Stephen.
Yeah.
And then it was really sad.
Like, I didn't watch Sarah Jane Adventures either.
No.
What else do we really like about? I really like the set.
The set's
is
amazing.
fantastic.
It's like colour changing. It's like covered in light because it's
horrible to live in, but very nice to watch.
Yeah, if you had a migraine, that flat would kill you.
I feel like it's the flat that in my head, somewhere in that house, like they've got a bathroom that has the, a wall made of those, when they're like glass tiles.
Frosted glass tiles.
Yeah. There's a bathroom in that house that's the walls.
Yeah, like it's very it's very naughty.
It's very Nick Jr.
Yes. There is something a bit American sitcom about it. But I think the reason for that is because the way that this show works is that they're upfront about it being a show. So in his first episode, he was like, I'm back, and it was presented as a big Saturday night. Like, it wasn't on Saturday night, but it was framed like it was on Saturday night.
It's got a laugh track as well, and it's got like sound effects, like quite comical, clownish sound effects, like
there isn't a silent moment. It is an attack on the senses.
It is, which is one of the negatives of the show. If what you're wanting to do is engage kids, it does do that. It fulfills the brief.
It's massively overstimulating because like they don't let it lie for a second. Like it's just constant onslaught of noise, and I'm like, you could just give the audience a second to breathe between things. But I know that's not what kids necessarily
You would hate
need.
Sadie J. Listen to our episode of Sadie J.
No, like that is one of the things I didn't like about it, but looking from an adult lens of it, it was like I really liked all the surrounding characters, but like the combination of the colours, the lights, the sounds, and Basil Brush's annoying constant presence.
Yeah.
I found like Elsie came home and I was like, I have watched a lot of Basil Brush and now I am done.
Yeah.
I can't do it anymore.
Yeah, we were in here together, the living room. And I was like, should we watch some so we get some out of the way? And you were like, I can do one.
Then I'm finished.
Yeah.
But the reason that I think the flat is so obviously a set is
there's no ceiling.
But they're not trying to make it into a. So it's something that I love about the show, like genuinely really love, is that it's almost like a surrealist masterpiece.
And now time for a bit of exposition, though the joke at the end is worth hanging on for.
So, join me same time, same place tomorrow for more Healthy Harry's Healthy World. Because remember, a healthy world's a wealthy world.
Today's program is sponsored by Cadwallader's Funeral Parlour.
Next on Chibo TV, an everyday tale of Belgian folk in Ostenders.
Hear me out. There are episodes that are entirely non-linear. They make constant reference to the script.
Do you think being meta is surreal?
No, I don't. But the situations they find themselves in is almost like Mighty Boosh. Like, there's an episode
with the mummy.
The episode with the mummies. So it's basically Basil and Stephen find a tunnel under their house, and it's kind of like Tomb Raiders. And then they go back into the living room and they're watching the TV, and Molly's on the TV, but it's in a kind of black and white mummy horror.
Oh, yeah.
And then
that looks like Miss Molly on the TV.
The OG Universal movies.
Yeah.
And then Dave goes into another room and they're watching the TV, and now Dave is in the film, and then both of them turn into mummies and they're like back in the living room, and it's like, what's happening?
Yes, all right, you'll get your flaming jewel. I've put it somewhere safe. I only wish I'd put myself there too.
Could this be the end for Basil?
Hardly. The show's only just started. So you mummies can't smother me just yet. No. Not until our loyal viewer, whom I value so highly, has been filled in. Whilst also giving this fox, whom I value even more highly, time to think where I put that cursed jewel. Voiceover man, could you go back to the beginning, please?
Oh, if we must. It all started earlier that day with Molly's history project on the ancient Egyptians.
I love that about it. I think you said that it's like a very simple sitcom for children, but I disagree.
I just mean the character setup. I don't mean the plot, the plots and stuff, because the plots are convoluted.
Like, it's actually fairly sophisticated.
But I just mean the roles of each of the characters.
Yeah.
There's also animated segmentation in it. A bit like Tracy Beaker, just to add to all of what's going on. So you've got
Suddenly a change in medium.
You've got this weird family setup, a puppet that doesn't stop talking, loads of lights, loads of noise and action, and then it cuts off to animated Basil Brush randomly for no reason. Like there's, I'd forgotten that this was a thing because there was so much going on in the show. You could completely take away those segments.
I'd forgotten that as well. They don't need to be there.
Yeah, and the show would be exactly the same.
But that is much later on. That's mainly in the Liam years where Stephen leaves and Liam replaces him.
I don't like Liam.
There is animation in the earlier ones, so it's just not as frequent. Because I did watch some of the later ones today, and it was like, oh god, they are cutting away to these animated Basil Brush skits. Quite a lot, like skits within the sitcom. It was really weird.
Like Family Guy.
Which is all animated.
Yeah, no, I know, but like he does the cutaways when he's like telling a joke and then goes to the visual of the joke.
But the jokes, those kind of skits in Family Guy kind of appear naturally. Like
fair. Oh, you're right. These are just a thing.
Cut away to something
like
entirely
a long
different.
Transition.
Yeah, it's really weird. It's like they were like, oh, we could have like the transition cards like you get in the sitcoms, like The Big Bang Theory, and they have them. But they went, what can we do else with this?
Let's whole short story.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's, songs and dance breaks as well.
Yeah.
Infrequently, but they are there.
I love whenever they go outside. It's the least real looking outside I've ever seen. It's like High Five outside. It's like cutouts and like pipe cleaner flowers, and all the children other than these children are adults.
But the way that it is so all over the place and off the wall, and even the characters that come in, like side characters that come in off the street, like a police officer, for example, like they have a huge number of people cast, and it's not, I mean, there are people that repeat, like multi-role people that come in and play different characters, but they've got a lot of different people, and they always work really hard to make it a joke with every single one. It's never just exposition. There's always something. And I don't know, I actually find it, apart from all the problems which we'll get into, I find it quite a sophisticated show.
Like, it's got a lot going on and it manages to make it work.
It doesn't talk down to the audience at all.
Oh yeah, they don't pause to explain anything.
No, they just do it, and I really appreciate that about it.
Your suspension of disbelief has to be ready to go the whole time. Like, don't expect an answer to a single question.
Come on! Now get at me, or I'm gonna slice you from breakfast to dinner time!
Cut! Sorry, poor choice of words. Right, you pirates, you're in the wrong studio. The straight-to-video confessions of Captain Hornblower is filming next door.
I think we've seen the last of them, eh?
The thing that's very, very cool about this show is that it's at the same time very insincere and also very sincere. So
Yeah.
it's they constantly refer to themselves as a bad show, a show that's basically about to be taken off the air, a show that has no money. Look at how terrible this script is. Don't laugh, you'll only encourage him. Oh, our set is wobbly. They're always talking about that. But they also, at the same time as having that kind of cynicism, it's really sincere. They are throwing themselves into it. They are doing everything, and there are moments that are really funny, and you can tell that there's a lot of love behind the show.
Oh, yeah,
and
there's
a lot of money. Like, they talk
Yeah.
about how cheap it is, but they've spent loads of money on making it look like a big Saturday night show that is also really cheap. Like, it is both of those things.
It takes a lot of money to look that cheap.
Yeah, it's both of those things at the same time, and I love it for that.
It's very much a time capsule
in so many ways, other than just the aesthetics
and the oldness of the jokes and the variety feel of it. I feel like the creators kind of were going for a sort of, this is old-fashioned comedy, and we are presenting it in a way that we know that this is old-fashioned, and we're presenting a show that the creators, everyone in it, knows it's shit, and they say that it's shit, and that makes it not shit. Kind of.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Excuse me, miss, but your dishcloth bikini is very tight and rather revealing.
Well, no one's forcing you to wear it.
100%. Like, I will say, in every single episode, you feel the sheer amount of like effort and time and passion that is put into it. Like, I granted that I may not like it, but you can tell that people were trying really hard.
And also, if you're being like, oh, you know, the script is shit, it's shit, but it's all written in, then you've achieved it. So it is good. Like,
yeah,
they've done it well.
I've got one more positive thing to say about it. I'll probably find more as we go on, but because there's like specific jokes that I would like to just mention, but we can do that if we have time. Something else I want to say about it is that I switched on episode 1 at the beginning of the research for this, and it felt like a warm hug more than any of the shows that we've done. Like, I heard the sound of the characters' voices, I heard the theme song, and I was like kicking my feet like a schoolgirl. I was like, I remember all of this so clearly, and I must have loved it, and I was really, really enjoying myself. I was like, why don't I watch this all the time? This feels
Because
so
we'd
good.
kill you.
And then the first fat joke came in, and I was like, oh, fuck, this is 2002.
Yeah.
And it hates women.
It hates women. It hates people of color. It hates fat people. It hates foreigners. It hates immigrants. You know.
I felt this, like, very similar. Like, there were parts of the show that I was like, I remembered the show, this episode, beginning to end. It was really weird. There was some things that I'd, like, totally forgotten about it. But a lot of the jokes and like specific bits of the show I'd remembered, and so when I watched it, it was like a big surprise. And this does keep happening, this series. Like, this has happened a few times where I've watched something not expecting to remember anything about it, and I've remembered loads and loads and loads of it, which is very conflicting for me in many ways, because I don't remember a lot of my childhood in great detail. So when I remember these things, it genuinely makes me feel really, really, really nostalgic in a way that I'm not used to feeling.
There's a really good analogy that I heard once for memories where, so I might have told this before, I'm not sure. It's like, so you're in the middle, and then your memories are like colored dots all around you. And then the saturation of the dot is how well you remember it. So they're all there. And like, the more you think about it, the stronger the saturation gets. So it's like all these memories are still there. They're just pale and far away. So the second you use something to reignite them, they're bright again.
Oh, not too loud, Master D. I'm a very fragile fox this morning.
News just in. You might have seen this man.
It's the chap you gave the money to.
What's he doing on the news?
Maybe he's come clean about his real identity as a top toff.
Lord Fothergill cum Hardy.
Told ya.
also known as Fiddling Filbert, Conniving Kevin and Bamboozling Bertie, was arrested today by the police on charges of fraud, embezzlement, and generally not being nice.
Oh, no!
Members of the public who've been duped by his I'm a Lord scam are advised that all of his checks are worthless.
Oh, double no!
They are 100% rubber and will bounce to Kingdom Come. And that includes yours, Dave. Sorry.
Can I actually have a quick question before we move on?
Yeah.
Why is the Basil Brush the same Basil Brush as the old one, or is it a new puppet?
It's a new puppet, new clothes. So he wears in the new one.
His old clothes more.
I don't know what his old clothes were.
They're like a darker tweed. Rather than a brilliant. I mean, it wouldn't have made as much sense in that house, but like, it's not like
bright
a brilliant
green suit. Yeah,
he's wearing a tweed green.
I love all his little outfits.
I love his little outfits as well.
Yeah. I love them. Yeah. So he usually wears the green suit, and then if there's an episode where it's all based,
decorating.
If they're decorating, he's wearing overalls.
Yeah,
and I love them. But in the Liam seasons, so Liam replaced Stephen in the last 2 seasons, Basil's cutting about the house in like a hoodie, and I'm like, sorry, no, I don't think so. He wears a suit. I don't think so.
Excuse me?
What?
Yeah, that and the increased animation sections are why the later seasons are not as good.
Well, what do we think?
Gets my vote.
Mine too. He's cute.
I still prefer the singing wabbit.
Oh, shut up. Well, Liam, that's settled in. You've got the job. Hooray! You must be thrilled.
Oh, I am, yeah, but, what job?
The job as comedy sidekick that you've just auditioned for.
You've got it all wrong. I'm just passing through. I'm looking for a distant cousin of mine, a fellow by the name of Stephen.
So you're not an actor?
An actor? I couldn't act my way out of a wet paper bag.
Neither could your predecessor.
Also, I mean, just a quick, Liam is not this sort of gentle wet wipe character.
He's not Stephen.
He is antagonistic with Basil, so watching them two snipe at each other, at least the episodes I saw.
Oh no, Stephen does do that with Basil. There's many moments where they almost end up, there's a lot of violence in the show. Characters hit each other. Basil gets strangled a lot.
It just felt like the relationship between Liam and Basil was like sour.
Yeah, it wasn't as like sweet friends.
But do they still share a bunk bed like he did with Liam with Stephen?
What the fuck? Why were they? Why does Basil have the ability to go into their dreams?
It's weird. It's weird because with Stephen it was like sharing a bunk bed with your lifelong mate, and with Liam it was like sharing a bunk bed with this relative stranger.
Yeah, because in his first episodes they were auditioning sidekicks, which is why Liam's there.
Yeah.
I think he's also a cousin of Stephen. I think maybe they mentioned that one time.
Hopefully, because like these kids' parents are gallivanting through the Himalayas for fucking years. So hopefully it's another relative. Like it's a weird
the kids grow up on the show. There's an episode where it's something I've always remembered from the show that I thought was a really funny joke was Molly wasn't in it for some time, and child Molly says, "I'm going to the shop for some milk. I may be some time," and she comes back a few years later, like a
dad running away from home. Going, I'm going to buy some cigarettes, and you don't see him for 20 years. Like,
not quite, but yeah.
I did tell you I'd be a while.
I love Molly's clothes.
It's some of the stuff reminded me of My Parents Are Aliens. Like,
the clothes,
constant bandana.
Yeah, of course, and the rainbow clothing, the tassels.
Why is she wearing a choker?
Yeah.
Not even a choker, like a collar.
Like a full-on thick collar.
That's what they think of women in this show.
Yeah.
Hate them.
No. This fox is not launching himself anywhere in anything, especially that tarted up old tin can.
But guys, you've yet to meet Svetlana.
Svetlana?
Yeah, she's running the astronaut training program. Svetlana, wanna come in?
Yeah, so what
Moving on to
happens?
sexism.
What happens is the way that they get Basil and Stephen to partake in the shenanigans, usually Dave's shenanigans, is the introduction of a beautiful woman. So just for example, in the episode where they go to space, they need 2 idiots to test the rocket out on. They're not going to do it until the astronaut trainer person is a beautiful woman. That is how it goes for most of the episodes.
You won't be seeing either of us in any stupid gym.
Nah.
Yeah, I mean, what possible earthly pleasure can anyone get out of making themselves all hot and sweaty?
I don't know.
Yeah. Can you imagine anything more ridiculous than all that flesh squashed and squeezed into a hanky-sized bit of elastic?
Yeah. Just imagine.
I mean, all that beastly bending and sweaty stretching, all that unnecessary jigging about. I mean, you could end up pulling something, couldn't you?
Yeah, you could. Well, I certainly hope so. Right, I'm off.
Where are you going?
To get a leotard, then down to the gym.
There's lots of like daydream sequences that's just Stephen like on an island surrounded by beautiful women. There's just so much of it. So much of a woman walking through the door and they're just
Suddenly
like
interested.
Cartoon wolves.
I need to point out that in the first episode that me and Elsie watched together, there was a page 3 joke.
It was a funny joke. So, but I mean, the fact that it's that pantomime logic of like, that'll go over the kids' heads. But basically, he says, there's a real fox on page 3. And it cuts to page 3 and it's a real fox.
Yeah.
But
oh
yes.
my God. Here's the thing. You say it'll go over the heads of children. Did you guys ever just stumble upon the sun?
No, but you rang Babe Station.
But I knew what it was because it had been suggested that I shouldn't look on page 3.
Well, because
I mean, not that any of my family have the sun lying around their house, but you know.
So some of my family had the sun laying around their house, and it's like, oh, I'll read. Like sometimes I would like to, like my parents didn't, like it was never at my house, right? But I would occasionally read the newspaper. Don't know why. Talk to child, Laura. And I remember picking up the newspaper's house at my grandparents' house and being like, oh, I don't think I was supposed to see that. I'm gonna go in a different room.
It's such a weird part of British culture, isn't it?
Still a thing?
Yes.
Yes, but they're slightly more clothed now.
I remember,
That's it.
I can't remember which comedian this is from, but they were like, I think that like jury duty, page 3 should be like, you get it through the mail. Everyone has to do it once.
But that is one of the less egregious instances of sexism because it's, I don't know.
Well, it's making more of a joke on British culture rather than the actual.
Well, it's a joke about foxes, really.
Yeah. If you boil it down, it is actually a joke.
And I think, and the fact that it's
joke.
the fact that it is in the show at all is made to make adults laugh.
Oh, there are several times,
like every episode,
where we're like, "Whew, okay."
Well, have you ever actually been out with a female of the opposite gender?
I've had loads of girlfriends. Well, there was Delilah Nodes. Ah, she was my first love. Sadly, it didn't last.
What happened?
She broke it off.
That explains your lack of success since.
In fact, me and Elsie reacted very strongly to one thing once, and Laura came through.
Oh my God,
we had to list all the things that had gone wrong in the episode.
There's a lot of fat phobia. There's an episode, just one that I'm bringing to mind, where Molly's getting bullied by a girl called Big Gladys. I do think that the name Big Gladys is quite funny. But when she actually says, I'm being bullied by Gladys, then she turns to the camera and looks into your soul and goes,
She's called Gladys. Big Gladys. Everyone's frightened of her, even the teachers.
I say, she's huge!
Come on, it has to be the camera angle.
big Gladys. And I laughed, but I was like, oh no, we're gonna see something really
because
bad.
it's fatphobic, and then it's also there's not a word for it, like making fun of socioeconomic status.
She's dressed like a chav, right?
Yeah.
She's dressed like a stereotypical chav.
She's got like big hoop earrings. She's got her hair like really pulled into a really tight pony.
Also, the actress is like at least 15 to 20 years older than the actress playing Molly.
Oh, she's probably older than Stephen.
And she's
like
really
35.
tall as well. And
but she's wearing lifts. There's a close up on her feet when she like marches into Annel's calf, and it's like she's wearing something.
Yeah, because I was
her...
like, you know what, you could vary with those shoes. You've not got much steady. Just push her; she'll fall right over. Like,
yeah.
Oh yeah. You think you can just throw your somewhat considerable weight around and no one will stand up to you? Well, I'm standing up to you because I'm happy. I've got friends and people who care for me. While all you've got is a backside full of cactus needles, some sort of growth spurt problem, and a hairy top lip.
That's a very hurtful thing to say.
Waxing will help.
The sexism
it does go to show that you can be a bully if you're fat.
You can do anything you want.
Yeah, don't
don't
be a bully. But, you know, one way of looking at it.
So there's lots of, like, offhand mentions of, like, someone is fat, someone, whatever. There's lots of daydreaming about women in spandex. It's kind of like, I feel like maybe, should we explain why it is bad that there is lots of daydreaming about women in spandex?
Well,
Or do people get it?
I mean, I guess contextualizing it as a kid's show, what you're doing is showing to young people and children that objectifying women to such an extent, objectifying women as the purpose of you doing anything in life is fine. Which I suppose whatever gets you at the house, but be nice about it. I don't know.
Yeah, one instance of this would be like, oh, whatever, but it is just, you can't breathe for moments of like, couldn't do that now.
But it's also like, the value of women in this show is purely based on how attractive they are, because like there's one teacher that when we first see her, she's dressed kind of dowdy, and then like everything she's saying is unimportant until she's dressed nice and she looks nice, and then suddenly what she's saying is important.
Yeah.
So it's teaching people that the value of women is on their beauty.
Yeah.
Which is not a good lesson for children.
It's just how many scenes did we have to watch where you can actually see Stephen's tongue rolling onto the floor?
Oh no.
I'm in love.
Oh, yes.
Meet Brunhilde.
She's from Sweden.
Has she got a sister? From Sweden?
I don't know. She doesn't speak much English. Do you, love?
Hey, Schnagen. Mickey at the gas.
His eyes popping out of his head, his heart beating out of his chest. He's just a hopeless romantic.
He's a
for literally
wolf.
any woman.
Any woman.
And then there's one episode where, oh my god, I'm not even sure how to most delicately phrase this, right?
Just say it.
So it starts
we can workshop
off.
it.
It starts off with someone moving in upstairs. She knocks on the door. She is dressed in the most like you went down to Halloween Town or Party City and you picked up a gypsy costume, right?
This show is Gypsies, Tramps and Thieves.
Yeah, because she's got that like the headscarf on with the little like coins all over it, so she jingles as she walks, and like and then she's like, oh, I've just moved in. I've put my caravan upstairs,
which is funny.
That is quite funny.
And then she does magic on Stephen, and is like, you want to be better with women, you want women, all right, I'm gonna give you that, but be careful, you're really gonna get what you want, be careful what you wish for. And then he wakes up the next day and he is in like a Rick James kind of cosplay.
He is.
Yeah.
The blackface.
Yeah.
He kind of is behaving like if the man one from Boney M was cool instead of goofy.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's got big fake teeth in and a big afro, and he's got like,
and his chest has an afro as
a
well.
big John Travolta disco suit on, and he's a little bit blacked up.
Yes. Quite considering how pale he actually is, quite blacked up.
The bloopers for that episode are really funny because he just can't help spitting his teeth out. He can't.
I don't know how
lines.
he's talking. Yeah.
And like so in this persona, in this costume, suddenly women find him absolutely irresistible.
Well, one way of looking at it is if you
come on.
If you want to get women, you have to be black. Well, white men have no riz.
Then that's fetishizing black men.
No, okay. I'm not trying to fetishize black men, but
that's our cold open.
White men,
no riz.
They're just
dead in the water.
They're just so unseasoned, aren't they? Yeah, no, Stephen is the epitome of unseasoned, though, isn't he?
Well, one of my favourite...
boiled chicken.
He's boiled chicken, he's chicken and rice, mate.
Yeah. My favourite running joke in the show is they always call Stephen wide-faced. They just always say he's got a wide face. In fact, one of the, on screen for 5 seconds sort of characters says to him, "Have you considered sleeping with your head in a vice?"
What? Oh, God.
And in the episode, the first episode that doesn't have him in it, they're telling Madison, like, "Oh, he's gone." And she's like, "Oh, well, we should arrange a funeral," because it's like a misunderstanding.
Yeah.
And Dave says,
"The big-faced freak ain't dead."
And there's another episode where Basil accidentally gets engaged and he's going to get married, and they don't like the fiancé, and Stephen says, "If you're marrying that woman, I'm sorry, I can't be your best man." And Basil says,
"Making me choose between a bloke with a wide face and the woman I love."
It's so funny because he's got such a normal face.
Isn't that just an episode of The Peep Show?
Yeah, maybe.
Accidentally getting engaged and having to get married.
Yeah.
Whoops.
So many shows. It's just, if you guys just talked to each other.
Yeah, but there's so much talking going on in this show.
True. That's
no, they actually do talk. There's not that a lot of misunderstanding happening.
There's a lot of just crossed wires.
Just hijinks.
Yeah.
Shall we talk about Anil?
What? Whatever it is, the answer is no. No! 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 Yes! I must be mad agreeing to this, but yeah, okay.
Yeah.
The ones I watched, there wasn't much of him. There was one where they're trying to get Stephen a job. No, Liam a job. And Anil is nicely describing what a dentist does. And then they're like, you know what? Because Anil's like, "Oh, I am a bad cafe runner, but I could have been a bad dentist. I would have made so much more money."
The thing about Anil
he's
is
really funny, and I really like him.
Really funny, and he is the only other character apart from Basil that intentionally makes really bad puns. I don't know why that matters, but he has a similar him and Anil. Basil and Anil get along very well, and there's another running joke that it's a horrible cafe and that he runs it very badly.
Himself, "I'm a bad cafe owner, but I could have been a bad dentist."
He gets a lot of things wrong. He misunderstands a lot of things.
Is the coast clear?
I don't know. I can't see any coast. In fact, I can't see anything with these specs on.
Well, why are you wearing them then?
I thought they'd get a laugh. Let's face it, the show could do with a few.
I've already told you, lot. Now, pack it in.
Who are you hiding from anyway?
Molly and Ella.
Or to be more precise, a couple of monstrous health freaks who just so happen to look like Molly and Ella.
Oh, right, yeah. Like in that film, Zombie Body Snatchers from Basingstoke. They took over the whole town. Though I've been there, and frankly, I'm not sure it wouldn't be an improvement. Nicer ring road, though.
Anil, what are you talking about?
I don't know. Should I put my specs back on?
He does very much plays the noughties ethnic character.
Asian person in a position of service.
I mean,
token person of colour.
Yeah. And there is an episode where, and fine, call us the woke police if you want. You got to talk about it. It's on kids' TV, where it's like the first episode with Madison, I think, and
she calls Basil Basil because
she
she's
calls
American.
Anil anal.
More tea, miss?
Oh, why thank you, Anal.
It's pronounced Anil.
Hello, I know, Basil.
And it's on kids' TV, and they play the anal joke.
We did laugh.
We
I
did
have a
laugh.
question.
Yeah.
Do they then make fun of that? Like the other characters, do they make fun of it, or is it?
No,
just,
actually they're more like you can't say that. Okay, but it feels very much like a low blow to be mispronouncing the Asian character's name as anal, and I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, it's a harmless bit of fun. It's a harmless bit of fun. You
got to talk about it anyway.
In many ways, a lot of what goes on the show is it's not harmless. I don't think it's harmless.
It's the cumulative effect of it, isn't it?
It's the cumulative effect of it, and it.
So what do you in the 2000s when I went to school, there were a few second generation immigrants in our class, and if you learn from Basil Brush, if you go home, you watch these things, you learn that it's okay to take the piss out of people's names who are slightly different from yours.
What I'm trying to say is that a lot of it doesn't feel like malicious intent. Malicious intent is different from whether or not it's harmful or not.
Yeah, that's true.
And that is not for us, I guess not for us as 3 white girls to decide whether this is harmful or not.
True.
You can make that own decision, and your own decision, and if you're Asian,
this.
and but the thing is, it's a joke to the on the show, but it'll be a reality for a lot of Asian people with Asian names who've grown up in the UK with people not being able to pronounce their names, and it's an easy, cheap joke to make on a show. And there are a lot of things get said. There's a lot of like fat phobic jokes, a lot of misogynistic jokes, a lot of anti-traveller jokes, as it turns out, and they're words that it's not we've grown up thinking, or like the ways that we've grown up, it's like we don't say those words, and it's very jarring to hear going like something from so long ago that is, I guess, not really stood the test of time. My point is that you might be listening to this thinking, oh, it's nothing, it's probably not even replayed that often now. It is what it is. It's a product of its time. It is a product of its time. But there are so many ways to be funny without, kicking people while they're down, right?
Don't punch down, punch up.
Yeah, there are so many ways to be funny, and the show knows that because it is funny in lots and lots and lots of ways, and we laughed a lot watching it.
I especially think in kids' TV, there's so many ways to be funny without targeted groups and people, because like we've watched so many kids shows where that's never an issue and they're still funny,
and there are ways to make jokes like the ones that the show makes in a more self-aware, this is a ridiculous thing to say kind of way. Like, I'm not saying
taking the piss out of the joker rather than the subject.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that comedy shouldn't push boundaries. I'm saying that 8-year-olds don't get that. They're not fully grown adults.
No, what they're learning from that is that it's okay for me to make fun of someone who's slightly different from me.
Yeah.
In that scene where she calls him anal, almost immediately after, and this made me and Meg actually scream. We rewound it. We paused it and we just turned to look at each other like, did we hear that?
And he was right. I've only gone and sold the whole collection to Sammy Wide.
Sammy who?
Sammy Wide, MD Pikey Sportswear.
Top man, big rag trade name. He's got global distribution from Dagenham to Slough.
Wow, that's deep.
Yeah.
We couldn't believe it.
It feels outdated to us. There may be people who are, who live in like travel communities who use this word, and it might just be surprising to us because we've been taught not to use that word I could be wrong. It could be fine to use that word. I don't think the show knows that, right?
Yeah, no.
So it's very hard for us to make. I'm not the word police.
But either way, you don't hear it on telly.
You don't know. That's the point. You don't hear it on telly, and we heard it on a kids show.
We were so shocked.
It's very likely that there's many words where it's like the people in that community are free to use whatever words about themselves they want to use, but people outside the community, it has a history of being derogatory. So people outside the community using it has this dark history, no matter what the intent behind the word is. But you saying it as an outsider with this long history of it being a hateful way of talking about people shouldn't then be using it.
Yeah, it is a very hard discussion to have, and I am grateful for Basil Brush opening. I mean, we've never tackled fat phobia on a show before.
It's amazing that we've got this far and not, considering
the 2000s.
Considering the 2000s, it's amazing.
And I don't think the show is being purposefully malicious, but I do think some of its attitudes goes to fuel a lot of these people.
Or it's like, I don't want to try. I want to be lazy and be how I've always been and never improve myself or think about other people.
Oh, you wouldn't get away with that now. No, you wouldn't. That's why it happened then and it didn't happen now.
You couldn't make it now. Well, no, because you'd be sued for copyright.
And I do think it's weird. Obviously, we have a different attitude to women now, but like, I have a different attitude to women now than when I was 3. It's just very interesting because you watch kids' TV and it's like you're doing some really, really adult themes, in my opinion. Not like
they depicted a hangover in Basil Brush, which I don't think you're allowed to do now. I could be wrong, but I don't think you are.
I feel like that should be allowed because that's the reality of having parents. They're gonna be hungover sometimes.
Well, yeah, but there's lots of realities of having parents that shouldn't be on telly.
That's fair.
There's actually one episode that me and Laura watched together. I don't know if you saw it else, but it was basically like Dave was running the family business and he gave Molly money because she was making cakes or cookies or biscuits or something like that, and the whole show was like the family was making money through
drugs.
The biscuits were.
I'd like to watch this.
We're basically like there is a euphemism in place of drugs.
Yeah,
because there was
Could you cook some cakes?
Oh, I've got an order from Anil about a new batch of rock cakes. Soon as possible.
I can't make any more cakes. I've got no ingredients.
Well, pop down to the shop and get yourself some. It should be enough. Oh, please, Mo, I promised them.
Well, you can cook them then.
Drive a hard bargain. Latest taters.
There was a Columbia joke, wasn't there?
Oh my god.
Do you remember what the Columbia joke was?
No.
Did anyone get their toenails ripped off?
Jesus, no, I didn't go that hard.
No, I didn't go that hard. But
was it he was going to see a man about Colombian something or like?
I think it was a Colombian. It was a name of someone. I think it was like Colombian Steve or something. I don't know if it was
this is one of the reasons that I like the show a lot.
And it is very, very funny.
I think if you do it in a sort of like tongue-in-cheek kind of way where it's still funny, even if as a child you don't have the context of what a drug trade is, like that's still kind of funny. These like kids, him wearing a suit, him handing off a water cash to his sister to buy the ingredients for cake. That's funny, and no one's hurt.
I didn't realize this until I was watching it in the last few days, but I remembered suddenly where I learned the word watershed. So Stephen asked, "How do I look?" and Basil said, "Is it after the watershed?" "Oh, I can't tell you." And I think I remember asking my mum, "What's the watershed?" And she said, "Everything that's allowed to be shown on TV after 9 o'clock." And then I knew. So it's educational, isn't it?
Just quick aside, I love the concept of the watershed. Like, I actually really like that we have that in British telly because it's like...
It doesn't exist on radio, by the way.
Oh.
No radio watershed.
I guess that makes sense. Because, like, I've watched TV in Singapore and then, like, I've also... and then like also US TV, that's because they don't have that, it's all sanitized, so there's no swearing ever, right? In Singapore we so Snatch was on at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and for whatever reason So bits that had too many swears were cut out, except for one long bit. I guess they decided it was too important for the plot, but they just muted the bits that they didn't want you to hear, except for the word cunt. Because presumably the person doing it didn't know what that word was, maybe.
Wow, that's actually so funny.
It would be like a string of words where it's like a sentence cut full of fucks, and then suddenly cunt, and it's like, what? What?
I must say, it's been a real emotional roller coaster of a show today, chaps. In many ways, like the course of true love itself.
That's deep, Basil. Really deep. Like a trench, or a hole in the road, or something.
I hope you've learned something, Molly.
Yeah, boys are really stupid.
Ah, but not as foxes, eh, Moll?
No, you're really, really stupid. Just kidding.
That's nice. Like a boiled sweet, or an egg, or a pair of fluffy slippers, or something.
Is there any common sense media for this?
I looked. There was none.
Oof, that's really surprising.
I was amazed. I searched for Basil Brush on Mumsnet. Nothing. I think they were all just like thinking of the old one. But yeah, no, nothing. We let them get away with everything.
They hate Pepper, but
no,
Basil
I know.
is fine.
Yeah. So bits that I liked. There's a bit when they're in the Indiana Jones bit, and they're like, "Oh no, a loose rolling stone," and someone comes round dressed as
that's funny. Mick Jagger.
Yeah, Mick Jagger, and they're like, there's like a little dance break, and then Stephen's like, that was actually quite funny, that one. I don't think the kids will get it, but
that is funny.
So that was funny. What else? Oh, I actually didn't make as many notes as I thought, even though I was laughing a lot. Oh, this is just slightly going back to the woman thing, but in the last in the bit at the end, they're always ending the day with Basil and Stephen in their bunk beds, and Basil's trying to distract Stephen. He goes, "Look, is that Britney Spears on a trampoline?" And I'm just like, oh my god, shall I just kill myself? Like, I've had half an hour of this. Are we not done? Are we not fucking finished?
Poor Britney. Leave Britney alone.
She's been through enough.
Oh, I haven't watched that in such a long time.
There's an episode called Dave Swap where Dave takes place in it's Wife Swap, but with
Laura
Dave.
loves that.
She did.
Did you guys ever watch Wife Swap?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, but it was Dave Swap, and they swapped their Daves
I like
with a different
that.
family.
See, like, commenting on weird shit like that in British culture, I'm all here for.
Very funny. Oh, there's an episode where we find out that Anil straight up has a child slave.
Yeah, you said that earlier, and I was like, huh? Oh, wait. Oh, the fucking thing when Dave, he's rewarding someone, I think Basil, for something, and he just goes, "Would you take a check?" And he snaps his fingers, and a check, like a guy from the Czech Republic appears.
Oh yes, I remember that one. Yeah,
I was like,
he's like trade. He's in the human trade.
Yeah.
I
was like, you're magic
trafficking.
and you're trafficking.
Magic trafficking.
Yeah.
This is Pavel, and he's from Prague. Go easy on him.
He'll go far, that boy.
I like all the stuff where the crew members are just walking onto set to like give them stuff or like call for breaks sometimes. That's really funny.
They have scripts.
They are holding scripts. It's amazing. I really enjoy it. There's when he has a child slave, basically Anil is sat with them and they're eating soup and like, Anil, this is actually really good. And he's like, I didn't make it. Who did? Well, it's been 5 seasons. Who's making all this stuff? And then a girl comes in like pulling a giant rock behind her.
Wow, tasty, totally.
Oh, Anil, I must have the recipe. What's in it?
I ain't got a clue.
What do you mean? You cooked it?
No, I never. I just pretended so I could wear the crown.
Well, who did?
She did.
I've got some more potatoes, boss.
Good. And don't forget the washing up. And them toilets need cleaning. And
And when you finish that, you can build me a pyramid!
Yes, Uncle Anil.
Uncle Anil?
No, I'm not your uncle. I'm hers.
She's Anil's niece, and that's the introduction of a new character.
Yes, I did think that was also something notable to talk about. Is that they it's almost like Madison forces adoption on Basil.
Have you seen that episode?
Yes, I've seen that episode.
He takes her in.
He takes her in, but he doesn't want to. She's framed like a little homeless girl.
Yeah.
That he doesn't.
Street child.
Yes.
But she's not. She lives under Anil's sink.
She's an urchin.
Yeah, she's an urchin.
And Basil sees that she's an urchin and isn't interested in looking after
the
her.
service of the duty of care.
She's literally like wearing a sack and she's got dirt on her face.
You know
like
what?
a Victorian urchin.
Yes.
If Stephen had still been in it at that point, he'd have taken her in. Because he was,
well, yeah.
What was he, like 25, and his much older brother went around the world and said, have my 2 kids. You're jobless. This'll work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm presuming the money is all coming from Dave and Basil.
Yeah, I feel like it's Basil's old money.
Yeah.
Show money.
Yeah.
Show business.
Exactly,
Showbiz, yeah.
Like the money from back in the day. And then Dave making all the fresh money.
There's an episode where they're all going to go broke. Like, the family themselves are having, like, financial trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And they do, like, there's a big spreadsheet, and they're all, like, working on ways on how they can all make money. And it doesn't end it ends with Stephen in hospital because of debt collectors, and it doesn't get resolved.
The bailiffs around.
The bailiffs with bats.
In fact, it's more like Body Snatchers, so he comes around with, like, a saw.
Have I ever told you the story of? Obviously,
Oh God,
I
where's
wasn't
this
there.
going?
No, I wasn't there. This is my boyfriend's story, but he says that when he was a kid, he has a really vivid memory of him and his brother and sister all lined up at the window, watching their dad grab a guy by the throat and push him up against a cart because his mum had failed to pay several like speeding fines or something, or like I don't know if she got done because the car didn't have an MOT or wasn't taxed or something, but she'd failed to pay a fine several times, and there was like quite a lot of money racking up on this fine. And a guy came round to the house, and he said that they were all like at the window laughing, watching their dad push this guy up against a car.
This sounds like some shit my granddad would do.
Yeah, they said that he didn't come round again.
Meg said to me when I came home today, she's watched so much Basil Brush and she still doesn't feel like she's scratched the surface of it. And I feel the same. I always feel like I've not done enough research for an episode.
Mind, we watched all of Funny Bones.
Oh, that's true, but that's, yeah.
Because you literally can't do any more.
Yeah.
There's so much Basil Brush, and so much of it is, like, there's really funny bits in each episode amongst the awfulness.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's so much more for us to talk about, but we can't just list jokes. So there you go. That's our episode.
It is, if you, like, go watch some, sure, like, I watched some of the old ones, and the comments on the old ones are just people in the no funny comments. I was hoping for some wit, but it was just people going, "Oh,
this is the best show ever.
This is the best show. I loved this." And it's like, no, is no one going to make any jokes? No,
because there's nuance to this. It's funny, yes, but
if you do want some jaw-dropping moments of "I can't believe that made it onto telly," "I can't believe that made it onto kids' telly," definitely go and watch it because it is very entertaining.
Yeah, there's funny bits, but like be prepared to be a little uncomfortable.
Be like, huh?
Yeah, be prepared to clutch your pearls.
Clutch your pearls, yeah.
Gird your loins.
Gird your loins.
Yes, I can't believe that there was a page 3 joke on kids' TV. It's like, how did this?
I can't
how
believe.
How is this BBC?
How is this getting past? What's it fucking called here? Ofcom?
I can't believe that in the same scene they said anal and pikey.
I can't believe that there was no Common Sense Media complaints.
There's so much of
but
this
then
I
again,
can't
the
believe.
same people that complain about things like Peppa Pig also love dunking on minorities. They're mums of Mumsnet.
Mums of Mumsnet, yeah.
They love that shit.
It's the Mumsnet
they're anti-woke, so.
It's the Karen collective.
Yeah, the Karens. Weird that the Karens would love Basil Brush. I'm painting with a very
broad,
wide brush.
And
here,
even though
but-
we were a little scandalised by things we saw, I kind of love that it exists.
Oh yeah, Laura did say. What did you say? You think kids should have more ugly stuff?
Well, so yeah, because I think I said this about Dick and Dom because the puppets in that are like, I think I have an issue with how everything today has to be perfect and pretty and pristine, when it's like that's just the social media filter over everything, right? It's like that's not real.
And this was talking up to kids, it wasn't talking down to them. There's not really anything like Basil Brush.
Yeah, Basil isn't a beautiful puppet. Nothing in this show is pristine.
Do you want to talk about the spin-offs? You had something to say, didn't you?
What was it called?
It was
Swap
Shop with Basil Brush.
Yeah, they brought back Swap Shop, and Basil Brush was one of the presenters.
It felt very much like they were trying to have another Dick and Dom moment, and it just wasn't happening.
I mean, he's just, because he's like not a public figure, but the way that like puppets do kind of exist,
live in the public consciousness.
They exist as celebrities. So he was on The Weakest Link. He's shown up on chat shows. He was on The Last Leg. He's done the rounds.
Yeah.
He's done the media rounds, because that's what these characters do. And I love that about culture. I love that Jim Henson gave us that.
Yeah, it was just, I watched, firstly, the episodes are an hour long. Bonkers.
Yeah, they are a whole hour.
Oh, Swap Shop.
But a bit like how Dick and Dom and the Bungalow was long.
Oh yeah, that's because it was a Saturday morning thing.
Yeah.
Like it's a reboot of an old
Yeah,
show.
no, I do get that, but when I started watching, I was like, this is 55 minutes long. What?
I mean, I didn't finish one.
No.
So.
Bernard, what was his name?
Barney Harwood.
Barney looked so bored.
Yeah, he doesn't really look like he wants to be there.
He never does he?
There were like moments where it like, there was one moment I watched like a bit of 2 different episodes where it cut back to him and he'd been clearly making jokes with potentially the guy playing Basil, where he looked like he was having a bit of fun, but every single other second he was on screen dissociating. He's so bored. And I feel like it's a weird conceit of like, hey kids, send us stuff, we'll send you different stuff. Like,
yeah,
there was this one kid who was like, I sent in a microscope, what I would like is something that's not sciencey, just anything
Swap
that's
Shop.
Yeah, it was just weird. And I haven't heard for like 15 years the like, call on your landline, it's this standard thing, and if you call on mobile it will be considerably more. I haven't heard that in such a long time.
Barney Harwood loves puppets, doesn't he? I think probably the reason that they like to get him in with, because he interacts with puppets as if they were people.
Yeah,
he has no problem. Like, I think sometimes actors and stuff or presenters can interact with them knowing that they're puppets.
Never a problem in Basil Brush.
The charm with Barney Harwood is he talks to Nev the Bear like it's a person, and he's clearly not. He's clearly he's a bear.
You don't say.
He's a bear. That's not all there.
Well, he sleeps in a bed with him.
He does, yeah. In fact, interestingly, Bear Behaving Badly was we ran a poll at of Bear Behaving Badly and Basil Brush, and you guys wanted Basil Brush more, but we will do Bear Behaving Badly because it was actually a really funny show.
It was. I was annoyed at first that everyone voted for Basil Brush, even though I liked it. I was just like, it's just going to take more effort to do. But I'm actually really glad we did it because I've had a great time watching it.
What a day, eh, Mr. Stephen?
You can say that again.
Thanks for the offer, but once was enough if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, you ask me, you had a narrow squeak there.
I really thought she was the one.
Yeah, and her loony father thought I was the one.
We could have had a double wedding.
David, that's not funny, and it's probably illegal too. Nah, just forget about it. Get to sleep.
Good night, Basil.
Nighty-night, Mr. Stephen.
Well, aren't you going to end the show with a rubbish chicken joke?
Nope.
What, nothing egg-extraordinary where the yolks are milk?
Nah, I'm too tired.
But people expect it. It wouldn't be the same. Go on.
Nah, get lost.
Right.
Rubbish chicken joke indeed. How could he think I'd resort to something that cheap? Cheap.
We have covered quite a lot of the big ones so far on this series, and we've got a few more big ones left to do.
Yeah.
Which is exciting.
So stay tuned for that. I've been Elsie.
I've been Meg.
I've been Laura.
And you can thanks for listening. You can find us on Twitter at thoughts__TV.
On Instagram at ThoughtsTV, the O is a 0, and on TikTok at ThoughtsTVPod.
And you can email us at thoughtstv2002@gmail.com, and we have a Discord server that is linked on all the socials.
Good.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed listening to the woke police discuss Basil Brush.
I really enjoyed this one.
Yeah, me too. Actually.
Solid chunk.
No,
I
really
definitely
enjoyed
enjoyed making this episode more than I thought I would, based on some of my opinions of the show.
That always happens, though.
Yeah,
it does happen.
I knew we weren't going to run out of things to talk about.
Mind you, this while we had some similar overlapping issues, this show did not make me angry like Heads did.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the other one where we went all woke.
Because that show made me so angry.
Yeah, I mean, Russell Brand isn't referenced at all in that I know of.
That's true.
That I know
well, he's
of.
definitely not in it.
Yeah.
For that we can be grateful.
Yes.
Good night.
Good night.